usually when we talk about a creative block, we treat it like this massive, complex psychological puzzle.
Oh, absolutely. Like it's a huge mountain to climb.
Right. You feel like you have to, I don't know, sit in a dark room, wrestle with your inner demons, and somehow think your way out of the rut.
Yeah, we constantly overcomplicate the cure because the problem just feels so heavy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But sometimes your brain is just a piece of hardware that needs a literal reboot. You don't need a psychological breakthrough. You just need to, like, move your legs.
I mean, we assume a profound creative drought requires this profound philosophical solution, and we just completely ignore our own physiology.
We really do. And welcome to the deep dives, by the way. Today we're looking at exactly how that physical reboot works for you.
It's a great topic.
Yeah, so our mission today is to examine a highly concentrated, really fascinating journal entry from a writer and photographer named Ang.
And this was published on May 30th, 2026.
Right. It's part of a series called Notes on Photography. Specifically, this is part 235, and it's subtitled A Random Walkthrough Time.
Which is such a great title.
It really is. And, while it's a brief, seemingly simple reflection, it's tagged with magazine and notes on photography, it manages to intersect physical movement, spontaneous art, the slow decline of the publishing industry, and even the actual mechanics of human nostalgia.
Yeah, the context of this post really sets the stage. I mean, Ang opens by stating, "It's been a long while since I wrote anything on photography."
Which is a heavy admission.
It is, and we need to weigh that admission against the title of the project, right? Part 235.
Wow, yeah.
You don't get to the 235th iteration of any creative endeavor without a massive amount of dedication and habit and, just passion.
Yeah, that takes years.
Exactly.
So if someone with that kind of track record says it has been a long while, we are looking at a significant disruption in their rhythm.
Honestly, it sounds like burnout.
Oh, totally. I mean, when you repeat the same process 234 times, you can develop a sort of creative snowblindness.
Right. That's a good way to put it.
You stare at the same blank page or look through the same camera lens for so long that your brain just loses its contrast sensors. Like everything starts to look flat.
Flat and just uninteresting.
Yeah. And what breaks that snowblindness for Ang wasn't forcing the issue. They didn't mandate inspiration. Ang writes that the catalyst for their return was simply getting more physical activity lately.
Aided by the lovely sunny weather.
Right. Which just prompted a stroll around the city.
And the physiological shift here is the actual mechanism of the breakthrough. I mean, when you're stuck in a creative or analytical rut, your body often physically mirrors that tension.
Oh, yeah. Your shoulders get tight.
Your cortisol levels might be elevated. Your visual focus is literally narrowed down to a screen or a notebook. Even your breathing is shallow.
That sounds exactly like me at my desk on a Friday.
Right. But by stepping outside into the sun, you are fundamentally altering your brain chemistry. Like, sunlight exposure triggers serotonin production.
Which makes you feel better almost instantly.
Exactly. And the simple rhythmic act of walking increases blood flow to the brain. And simultaneously, it lowers those stress hormones that cause the cognitive lockup in the first place.
So the photography wasn't even the goal of the walk.
Not at all.
The physical wellness was the primary objective, and the creative output was just a natural byproduct. Ang basically pulled the plug, stepped away from the frozen machine, and let the physical environment reset the system.
Yeah, but getting outside is really only half the equation here.
Okay, what's the other half?
Well, the environment provides the opportunity, but your mindset determines whether you can actually capitalize on it.
Right, that makes sense.
Because if Ang had treated this rock the way we treat most of our schedules, like, marching purposefully from point A to point B to hit a specific step count.
Or to just run an errand as fast as possible.
Yeah, exactly. If they did that, the creative block would likely have stayed intact. The breakthrough actually came from how they walked.
Oh, I see. Because Ang describes the excursion as an unplanned photo walk, right? Characterized by randomly cruising around and stopping to snap a few photos whenever something catches my eye.
Yes. And that phrase, whenever something catches my eye, is a profound shift in artistic philosophy.
How so?
It marks the critical difference between hunting and foraging.
Hunting and foraging. Okay, I like that distinction, but I struggle with the idea of randomly cruising, to be honest.
Oh, a lot of people do.
Let me play devil's advocate here for a second. Think about how we operate today. We track our macros, we optimize our sleep schedules, we map out our daily commutes just to avoid, 3 minutes of traffic.
Oh, the optimization culture is everywhere.
Right. And We listen to audiobooks on 1.5x speed while we walk so we don't waste a second.
Guilty as charged.
Right. So in that context, if I don't go out with a specific goal or a shot list,
Hmm.
I end up walking around aimlessly for an hour looking at my phone, and I come back with nothing. Doesn't foraging just become an excuse for laziness?
I mean, that reaction makes perfect sense in an optimization culture. We are so conditioned to believe that unstructured time is wasted time.
Exactly. It feels unproductive.
But when you are hunting, whether that is hunting for a specific photograph, a specific business outcome, or just the fastest route to work, your brain relies heavily on its executive functioning network.
Which is like a command center, right?
Yeah, it's the CEO of your brain. It is highly focused, goal-oriented, and it actively filters out anything irrelevant to the mission.
Okay.
So if you are hunting for a picture of a red door, your executive function forces you to ignore the interesting shadows on a blue wall.
Because the blue wall is a distraction from the KPI of the walk.
Precisely. But when you engage in what Eng calls an unplanned photo walk, you're deliberately telling the CEO to take the afternoon off.
I love that.
You switch out of executive functioning and activate the default mode network, or the DMN.
The DMN.
Yeah. The DMN is the brain's daydreaming and background processing center. It's the network responsible for connecting seemingly unrelated dots and recognizing serendipitous patterns.
You can't just flip a switch for that, right?
No, you cannot force the DMN to activate. You can only create the conditions for it, which requires surrendering the need for immediate, measurable productivity.
Wow, okay. That actually makes the random cruising an active mental state, not a passive one. You aren't being lazy.
Exactly. You are reallocating your cognitive resources.
Right, you're remaining fully receptive so that the environment can sort of dictate the art to you, rather than trying to force the environment to conform to your preconceived vision.
Yes. Think about your own daily commute or, for you listening right now, consider how you move through your city or your neighborhood.
Head down, usually.
Right. Are you hunting for the quickest route? Completely blind to the architecture, the people, the subtle changes in the storefronts? Or are you leaving enough mental bandwidth to forage?
Yeah, that's a great question to ask yourself.
Because Aang's openness to the environment is the only reason they spotted the subject of this post. An active hunter would have walked right past it.
Because what Aang spots isn't like a spectacular sunset or a dramatic street scene. It's something incredibly mundane, yet totally out of place.
Oh, it really is.
They write, "It's surprising to see that some of the magazines we used to read back in our school days are still around, especially since the book publishing industry has been in a long decline."
Yeah, Aang is confronted with a physical object that essentially belongs to a different era.
Right.
Finding a print magazine from their youth sitting on a modern shelf creates this profound sense of temporal dislocation.
It's like spotting a living fossil right in the middle of a modern city. I mean, cities are constantly overwriting themselves, right?
Constant.
Buildings are torn down, storefronts change branding, entirely new ecosystems of commerce just replace the old ones.
Mhm.
So to find a relic of an older media ecosystem somehow surviving in this altered landscape, it feels like a glitch in the matrix.
It does, and what makes Aang's observations so mature is how they actually process that glitch.
Yeah.
They don't fall into the trap of blind romantic optimism. They don't declare that print media is staging some miraculous comeback.
Right, they're realistic about it.
Very. Aang is clear-eyed about the macroeconomic reality, noting the, quote, long decline of the publishing industry.
So they're holding two opposing thoughts in tension. On one hand, Aang states, "I'm glad that some parts of the publishing industry are still surviving." There's genuine appreciation for the resilience of the physical object.
Yes, a deep appreciation.
But then they immediately follow that up with, "though I doubt they'll last in the long run."
And that grounded skepticism changes the entire emotional tenor of the discovery. Aang acknowledges the inevitable tide of technological and economic change.
They aren't in denial.
Right. They know this magazine's survival is an anomaly. It's a temporary reprieve for an industry fundamentally shifting away from physical print.
Which is kind of sad, but also beautiful.
Mm.
Knowing something is doomed in the long run makes its survival in the present moment incredibly precious.
Oh, beautifully said.
It's like finding a beautifully intricate sandcastle right before the tide comes all the way in. You don't try to convince yourself the sandcastle will survive the ocean. You just appreciate that it exists for this one extra hour.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
And that poignant realization seems to be what triggers the emotional core of this entire journal entry. We move from a macroeconomic observation about the publishing industry into a deeply personal experience of memory.
We really do. The text pivots completely at this point. Aang writes, "Nevertheless, the magazine really brought back memories of those long-forgotten days of our youth."
Which is such a universal feeling.
It is, and they summarize the whole experience by noting, "It was definitely a long walk down memory lane."
Let's talk about why a physical magazine triggers that level of nostalgia in a way that a digital article simply doesn't.
Okay, let's get into it.
Because if Aang had seen, say, a PDF of this old magazine on their phone while scrolling on the couch, I highly doubt it would have triggered a long walk down memory lane.
Oh, I agree completely. The psychological concept at play here is state-dependent memory.
State-dependent memory.
Yeah, specifically tied to tactile and sensory input. You see, the human brain doesn't just store facts or images in isolation.
Right.
It encodes the context, the environment, and the physical sensations associated with that information. Our memory centers, particularly the hippocampus, are deeply intertwined with our sensory processing centers.
Which makes sense, but a screen offers almost zero sensory variation.
Exactly.
Like every article, every photo, every video feels exactly the same. It's just a smooth piece of glass under your thumb.
But a physical magazine is a multisensory anchor. It has the distinct scent of ink and glossy paper.
Oh yeah, that magazine smell.
Right. It has weight. It requires the physical, spatial action of turning pages, which means your brain remembers that a specific article or photo was located on the top left of a left-hand page about halfway through the issue.
Oh wow, yeah, you physically map it out in your head.
You do. So when Aang spots this magazine, their brain isn't just recalling the visual of the cover. It is rapidly unlocking all those associated sensory and spatial memories.
That's incredible.
Yeah, these physical objects bypass our logical filters and access deeply encoded emotional archives.
The magazine essentially acts as a physical key to a mental lock. And there is a beautiful, almost poetic irony embedded in the very format Aang uses to share this experience.
Yes, the blog post itself.
Think about the structure of it. The very first line, the salutation, is "Dear Interweb."
Which is such a great throwback. It's a slightly retro, affectionate term for the internet, used to document an experience with an even older medium.
Exactly the irony. I mean, the internet is the very force that accelerated the long declash of the print publishing industry.
Right.
Yet here is Aang, using modern digital tools, taking digital photos, uploading them to a blog on the interweb, to memorialize a piece of decaying physical print media.
It's like encasing a fragile physical artifact in digital amber.
Oh, I love that. Digital amber.
Aang is utilizing the limitless, weightless storage of the internet to archive the finite physical weight of the magazine.
Yeah.
The digital is preserving the physical, specifically to honor the emotional. Without the digital blog, this moment of reflection disappears into the ether.
Just a fleeting thought.
Exactly. But without the physical magazine surviving against the odds, Aang never accesses those long-forgotten memories in the first place.
This circles us back to the subtitle of Aang's post, A Random Walk Through Time. On the surface, the physical walk was just a stroll through the city streets on a sunny day to get some exercise.
Right, just getting the steps in.
But temporally, mentally, it was a profound journey through decades. The camera and the physical walk were just the vehicles. The true journey was traversing the landscape of their own history. The physical stroll literally became a temporal stroll.
Which serves as a compelling challenge to how we construct our own routines. I mean, we've traced this incredible path today, starting with the basic physics of sunlight acting as a reboot for cognitive fatigue.
A literal reboot.
Right. And then we explored how adopting the foraging mindset of the default mode network opened Aang up to the serendipity of the city.
Yeah, telling the CEO to take a break.
Exactly. And that culminated in that encounter with a living fossil and the sensory flood of state-dependent memory.
So the actionable insight here for you, listening right now, is to recognize the immense hidden value of the unplanned walk.
Please take an unplanned walk.
It's a reminder to occasionally put away the map. Take out the earbuds for a few blocks. Stop trying to extract maximum efficiency and optimize learning from every single moment you spend outdoors.
Yeah, it's exhausting.
Allow your brain CEO to clock out and just be a receptive observer.
Because pieces of your own history are likely hiding in plain sight. We store our memories in the physical objects around us, and you have to leave room in your attention span for those unexpected time machines to catch your eye.
If you're constantly hunting, you'll never stumble across the artifacts you didn't know you needed to find.
Well said.
Which leaves us with a final provocative thought to mull over today. Aang found a magazine from their school days that somehow survived the long decline of the print industry, and it transported them decades into the past.
Yeah.
So look around your own environment right now. Decades from now, the industries and the media ecosystems we currently rely on will have shifted, faded, or evolved into something totally unrecognizable.
That's a guarantee.
So ask yourself, what everyday, completely mundane object from your current daily routine will unexpectedly trigger a long walk down memory lane for you decades from now, long after its underlying industry has faded away? What is your era's living fossil going to be?
Man, it really makes you look at the throwaway items on your desk with a lot more reverence.
It really does. Maybe sometimes when we feel completely stuck and creatively seized up, the answer isn't to sit there and try to force the engine to turn over.
Yeah, definitely not.
Maybe we don't need a massive psychological breakthrough. Maybe we just need a change in the physical weather and to let our legs do the thinking for a while. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. We'll see you next time.